Hey everyone, it's Shara from Shara Made Crochet back for another video. Today's video I wanted to talk about some finished objects. One I got done today. I'm really excited because they're all personal use items. Because lately what I've been doing is just making a whole bunch of stuff for charity really. I've either used my Addict knitting machine or I've been making like the rectangles for Warm Up America. So it's been really nice to actually show off some stuff that I'm making for myself and for those around me. So anyways, let's get started. The first object I'm going to show you is this. This is the Lacy Summer Top by KnitCro Addict. It is a free pattern. I followed both her blog and her YouTube tutorial, and I'll link those in the description box down below. The yarn that I used is Trubu by Lion Brand, and I think a 5mm crochet hook. I don't remember, it could also be a 4.5. And I used 2.5 balls of the colorway Cameo. I think, yeah. And the reason why it's a crop top is literally so that I can do what I'm doing right now, which is covering my spaghetti strap dress. It's stupid hot outside, and it's not a good idea for one to wear like, it's a little, I don't know, the sun is too intense here because I live in a desert and I live in an elevated area, and the sun is so intense here that I actually don't feel comfortable with just wearing a spaghetti strap. I would prefer to have another means of protection from for my skin, and also it's just like a more modest look, and I really like that. So yeah, that's the first shirt. I really want to make this in white because it would go with so many other dresses that I have. Yeah, so that's my first finished object. My second finished object is a really bright red. So this is the Granny Square market bag. The pattern that I loosely followed is by Rich Textures Crochet. The only part of the pattern that I really followed actually was the 2 Granny Square panels. Everything else was kind of like, I don't like that. I'll do it myself. I'll figure out a way to make it work. Because lately it's been a bit of a struggle for me to keep interest, I guess. Especially if I make a mistake and it suddenly takes a lot longer than I'm expecting it to take to finish. I'm not a big fan of doing 2 Granny Square panels and then having this section here, basically the width of the tote bag, be another panel that I had to work, because what happened was, so the third panel, which is essentially, you know, like I said, this part right here, you're supposed to count 3 out of the 4 sides, and silly me, I counted all 4 sides, and I used a different yarn than her and a different hook, and so my stitches were definitely a lot different than her numbers, and I really just didn't want to deal with that. So what I did was I started double crocheting from the back loop only along the edges. And that's how I determined my width, because I started working on it. I think I did 6 or 7 double crochet rounds or rows, sorry. And then what I did was I stitched the second granny square in single crochet together, and then I worked a few rounds of half double crochet instead of single crochet, and then I worked my own strap because at this point I was kind of done with making the bag. The yarn that I used is actually Aunt Lydia's number 10 crochet thread. And what I did was I tripled it. I'll leave a link in the description box down below, but she basically, the video tutorial shows you how to thicken up your yarn so that you can work with a thicker yarn off of your single ball of yarn. And I had an abundance of that thread in this colorway that I didn't actually know what to do with it. So, and when you triple it, you actually turn it into a fairly decent DK weight yarn. So I used a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, and I just worked with what I got from that, and it was really, really nice. It's actually, I've used it a couple of times, and it's super sturdy. I put 8 cans of the cheap tomato sauce in here, and it held up really well. The strap, of course, stretches. So maybe I shouldn't have made it a normal person size strap. Maybe I should have made it a little bit shorter so that when it stretches out, it would turn into a normal size strap. But all in all, I'm very happy with how the bag turned out. And I'll leave a link in the description box in case you wanted to make this bag pattern, because it's a really good pattern. There was a lot of things that I was just like, I'm too impatient to do it your way. I'm going to do it my way. So that is finished object number 2. Finished object number 3 and 4 are actually for baby. I wanted to make a baby blanket and an amigurumi doll for baby. So let's start off with the baby blanket. There it is. It's very simple. Sometimes I feel that simple is best, but also I am not that advanced as a knitter. And the stitch pattern was already a mistake. So what you're supposed to do, what I wanted to do was, I believe it's called the seed stitch, and it's basically where you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. And then the next row you purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. And so it has a very staggered stitch effect, and it's really cool. And I thought it was really lovely. Well, silly me. I have the hardest time remembering certain things when it comes to knitting, so I always start off the same way, and I ended up casting on an even amount of stitches. Well, that made the 1x1 ribbing that you see here, and instead of frocking it all, I just decided to roll with it. It was a pattern that I needed to work on anyway, or it was a stitch that I wanted to practice anyway, and I didn't see the harm in continuing it. So I did that. I double-stranded the yarn, and I used an 8mm knitting needle on I think 30 inch on a 30-inch cable. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, 11 skeins of that, but it was really like 5.5 of an extra chunky yarn. And then the other thing that I did was I crocheted the border. And so the first row here is single crochet, and the second row is slip stitch in the back loop only. And then on the corners, I did 3 picot stitches. So there we go. And it is so soft and squishy. Right now, so baby is due in October, and I know that you really shouldn't, it's a bit of a heavier blanket. Baby's not going to be able to use this blanket for a little bit, but baby will be able to use it for tummy time, and that's what I'm hoping for. So it'll still have its uses, and baby will be able to grow into it. So that is finished object number 3. Finished object number 4 is actually one that I finished today. And making this was a lot easier than I thought because I used Bernat Velvet Plus yarn and an 8mm crochet hook. The pattern I used is, I think, Floppy Bunny pattern by One Dog Woof. It's a free pattern. And making the facial features really reminded me why I don't make amigurumi. So please excuse how how ridiculous the face looks. But I made Floppy Bunny in a green color. He's so cute. And let me see if you can see. He looks, I think one eye is bigger than the other. The nose is all, it is what it is. But it's so soft and cuddly. I just love it. While I was making this, I actually really wanted to make a whole bunch more, and then I remembered why, because of the facial features, but also, I made this thing the most, I connected it, the head to the body in the derpiest way possible. So it actually kind of looked like it was off to one side, like I'm kind of showing you here. It's so dumb. I did my best to fix it. I think it'll be fine. It's perfectly imperfect, and the only one who will care is me for quite a while. So yeah, that is my last finished object. I'm actually so happy I got all of that done, because I was wondering if I was ever going to get the amigurumi one done. It was a very quick project too. Okay, so I'm actually gonna have to end it here because my camera is blinking very angrily at me for the last few minutes, and I'm kind of concerned that it's going to cut off. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to me ramble on about what I've been up to. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.